Karen called the sheriff on me before I even unlocked my cabin door. Yeah, you heard that right. I pulled into the gravel driveway of the place I built with my own 2 hands, and before I could even unload my truck, Karen from the HOA was already on the phone screaming about a trespasser. I had been gone for 3 years. Life, work, and a few family issues pulled me away. But this cabin wasn't just some property, it was my safe place. It was where my father and I used to fish at the creek, where we'd drink coffee on the porch while the sun rose through the pines. Coming back, I expected peace. Instead, I found bright orange trespassing signs nailed across my gate and fence. And who signed them? Not the county. Not the sheriff. Not even the state. They were signed by the homeowners association. Specifically Karen, the self-appointed queen of the neighborhood. I could feel the heat boiling in my chest. She had no right. This land wasn't part of the HOA. It was carved out before they even existed. But Carreno, she thought she could take over while I was gone. As I got out of the truck, she stormed up in her sun visor, clutching a clipboard like it was a weapon. You can't be here, she snapped. This property has been vacant for years. We decided to maintain it. Maintain it? She meant steal it. And just when I thought it couldn't get crazier, flashing lights appeared down the road. Karen had actually called the cops. The deputies pulled up, their cruisers lighting up the darkening woods. My heart pounded. Not because I had done anything wrong, but because I could see Karen smiling, thinking she had me cornered. Sir, we got a report of trespassing, one officer said. Hand resting on his belt, I pulled out my deed. It was worn, folded, from years of being in my safe. My father's name and mine were printed clear as day. This land belongs to me. Been in my family for decades. That woman has no authority here, Kieran cut in, voice shrill. He abandoned it. The HOA has been caring for this place. We've paid for maintenance, lawn service, security checks. I laughed. Loud, security? You mean nailing up fake signs and sending your son here to drink beer on my dock? The deputy looked between us. Karen's face flushed. She hadn't expected me to know about her son sneaking onto my property. But the neighbors had whispered it to me the second I returned. How Karen's family acted like my cabin was their summer retreat. The deputy finally said, "This looks like a civil matter. Unless there's proof the property was transferred, it's his land." Karen exploded. She stomped, pointed, shouted that I was a squatter on my own land. And when the deputies pulled away, she turned to me with pure venom in her eyes. "You'll regret coming back. The HOA will bury you in fines until you run again." And right there, I made a promise to myself and to my late father that I wasn't going anywhere. If the HOA wanted a fight, they just picked the wrong man. The very next morning, I woke to the sound of hammering. I opened the door and nearly choked on my coffee. Karen and a crew of HOA board members were out front pounding posts into the ground. They were building a gate. On my driveway, I stormed out. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" Karen didn't flinch. "HOA regulations. All residents must comply with new security measures. You'll need to pay your dues before we give you a key." My blood boiled. This wasn't security. This was extortion. For the next week, the harassment didn't stop. I got fake violation letters stuffed under my door. Unapproved structure, lawn not maintained, unauthorized vehicle on property. They even tried to fine me for the old fishing shed my father and I built in the 70s. I tried to reason with them. But every time I spoke, Karen twisted my words. Neighbors who once waved, now whispered. The HOA had poisoned the air. But here's the thinker and underestimated me. She thought I was just some old man coming back to a forgotten cabin. She didn't know I kept every receipt, every tax bill, every piece of paper proving this land was outside her house reach. And when I dug deeper, found something even better. The HOA was in violation. They had expanded their territory illegally, slapping dues on people whose homes weren't legally under their control. I had them. I just needed the right moment to strike. The showdown came 2 weeks later at the HOA's monthly board meeting. I walked into the community hall with a binder under my arm. Karen's smirk faded when she saw me sit down. She launched into her speech claiming I owed thousands in back dues. My cabin was blighted, that I was lowering property values. The room buzzed with gasps and murmurs. That's when I stood. I opened the binder and laid the county records on the table. This cabin has never been part of your HOA. Not now. Not ever. You've been overstepping your authority and I have proof. Gasps again. Karen stammered, tried to shout over me, but I kept going. I presented copies of her illegal trespassing signs, photos of her son partying on my dock, testimonies from neighbors sick of her bullying. The board members turned pale. Some even whispered apologies. Karen tried one last move, threatening to sue me. But the county rep I invited to the meeting stood up and shut her down. Ma'am, if you continue, you'll be facing charges for harassment and fraud. Her face collapsed. The power was gone. The queen of the HOA was dethroned right in front of everyone. And me. I walked out of that hall with my head high. My father's cabin was safe. My family's land was mine again. That night, I sat on the porch listening to the crickets, watching the stars and sipping coffee the way Dad used to. I felt peace again. Real peace. Karen still lives down the road, but she doesn't look my way anymore. Not since the HOA voted her out and dissolved half their bogus rules. So, if you've ever had a neighbor or an HOA try to take what's yours, just remember, stand your ground. Don't let them bully you. And now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever dealt with an HOA nightmare? Or a neighbor from hell? Share your story in the comments, because trust me, you're not alone. Asterisk, this story is just the beginning. There's so much more ahead. Subscribe to the channel to join me on this journey.